The office staff will be very quick to tell you that I really don't enjoy delivering drushas via video. I miss dearly seeing everyone in their seats. I find it odd to be talking to a camera. The whole thing just doesn't seem real. But if there's one advantage, perhaps it's that I feel less guilty about repeating stories that I told in the past, because I don't have to look directly into people's eyes and faces who are thinking, Rabbi, you said that one already. So, since I have that advantage, allow me to repeat a story which I know I've shared with you in the past, and maybe some of you have forgotten it, and maybe even one or two of you will even find it funny. But the story goes that one day Sam is walking to his home, and his friend Harry sees him, and he says, Sam, why are you walking in the street with a horse? So he says, well, my brother-in-law has been staying with me for the past 2 weeks, and every single thing that I say, he says, I know, I heard it, I saw it, I was there, I've done it, every single thing. So his friend says, so what are you doing with the horse? So he says, well, I'm going to go up into the house with the horse, and I'm going to go up into the bathroom, and I'm going to take the horse into the bathtub, and I'm going to shoot it. And when he comes running down the stairs saying, this is that horse in the bathroom, I'll say, yeah, I know about it. Some knowledge is useful, and some knowledge not so much. We find in this week's Parsha famously how Yaakov blesses his grandchildren. Yisimcha Elokim Ephraim and Menashe, famous words that our children should be blessed like Ephraim and Menashe. And there's this great scene of Yaakov who's on his deathbed, and Yosef, who's now Mishnah Lamelech, Tzofnas Paneach, has this power, position, a man of great prestige, brings his 2 sons, Ephraim and Menashe, to get blessed by their great Zayda. And Yaakov sees the grandchildren in front of him, or maybe he doesn't really see them, because as the psukim indicate, his eyesight was weak, and Yosef set up Ephraim and Menashe so that the right hand of Yaakov would go on the Bechor, on the oldest son, Menashe, and the left hand would go on the younger son, Ephraim. And Yaakov Avinu, when he sees that they're there, the 2 boys, Sikelas Yadav, he crosses his hands, and he uses the right hand to bless the younger son. But before he's able to do so, Yosef sees this, and it doesn't look good in his eyes. Vayera be'enov, it looks bad. And he says, Lo Navi, it's not, no, this is not really the true way of doing things. He put the right hand on the Bechor's head, the oldest son, and Yaakov hesitates for a moment. Vayimain aviv, vayomer yadati v'ni yadati. And he says, I know my son, I know. He says, listen, he'll grow up to be great, but the younger son, that's the one who's really going to be special. And he blesses them. But it's interesting to note that there's this double expression of yadati v'ni yadati. I know my son, I know. Why does Yaakov say twice, I know? One possibility is to suggest that Yaakov Avinu was sending a message to his son. Firstly, yadati v'ni, I know. All the things that you know, I know. I know who's oldest and I know who's youngest. Thank you very much. I don't need you to tell me. And frankly, it's a little bit disrespectful. I know. But I also know things that you don't know. Yadati. I know that the younger son is destined for even greater greatness than his older brother. That's one approach. But it's interesting that the language is yadati, I knew, in the past tense. And I think maybe Yaakov is saying something far beyond. He's saying, Yadati v'ni, I knew my son. I knew you, Yosef, before you were this great figure in Egypt. I knew him. I knew my son. And Yadati, and I knew what would be. You knew about your dreams, and your dreams became fulfilled. But there are also things that I know. And I know that you were destined to be broken up into two tribes, into Ephraim and Manasseh, and I know that the younger is destined to be greater. There are a lot of times where we think we know. There are a lot of times where we're absolutely convinced of our knowledge. But we don't always know. And while there's a lot of things that none of us will ever know, and there are a lot of things that none of us will ever figure out, and there are a lot of things that we have questions about in life, we'll never really understand why this pandemic has come. But we would be wise to listen to our elders. We would be wise to recognize that this is an opportunity to listen to those who are more experienced, to those who are more knowledgeable, to learn from their life experiences, to seek out their insights, their perspectives on the past, on the present, and also on the future. Yaakov Avinu's perspective ultimately assured the success of the growth of the Jewish people. He possessed that great vision. While we don't have quite his vision, we are blessed to have elders within our midst. We should seek out their insight, their counsel, their advice, and hopefully we will merit that time when the Geula will come. May it be. Amen.